Hey, what's up, docs? Ryan G here with BlowUp Local. I am currently on another walk with baby Clover early in the morning, Saturday morning, and I was thinking about a discovery call that I had yesterday with a chiropractor, his wife actually. And one of the things that we kind of talked about on the call is she said they're getting, they did a workshop, and they got a lot of leads, a lot of people to show up to the workshop. And then they were pitching a neuropathy exam at the workshop. And she said about 70% of the people who attended the workshop scheduled the neuropathy exam. But then when they pitched their high-ticket neuropathy care plan, very few people chose to upgrade to the care plan because they just couldn't afford it. Didn't have the money. Their insurance company didn't cover it. There was just a bunch of problems. And she said, our problem is the leads were just very poor quality. The people didn't have the money, and it was just a waste of time. So I was just thinking about how would you handle that? How would I handle that if one of my clients was having that problem? And I think one of the ways that I would do it is called the price Marinade, which I first learned about this from Myron Golden. And what Myron will do in his live events, the very first day, he'll write up on the board and he'll say, hey, my King Solomon inner circle is $150,000 a year. And I have, 80 people that are a part of King Solomon Inner Circle. So now what he's done is he's anchored the price of his coaching program. He's also, everybody that's in the room is thinking, oh my gosh, man, I'm not paying $150,000 a year to join this coaching program. That's insanity, right? So he does that right in the beginning. So anybody who is willing to just tap out and leave, they just leave, right? Because they're like, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to do this. But the people that choose to stay, they already know what that price is. It's anchored. And now Myron starts delivering a lot of value and amazing information. And by the second day, I started thinking to myself man, okay, that $150,000, man, okay, that's a lot of money, but I got to figure out a way to do this. I understand why people are spending that money now. And by the third day of the event, I was like, crap, I've really got to figure out a way to pay this $150,000. This is what I need. This is going to be really valuable. And by the fourth day, I was all in, okay, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start selling pictures of my feet on Feet Finder. I'm just joking, but I got to figure out a way to pay for this. And then Myron does his pitch. And he says, listen, the King Solomon Inner Circle is normally $150,000. But if you guys take action today, you're going to get this, this, and this. Insert his unique offer. And you're going to get all of that for only $55,000. Well, I've been anchored at $150,000. I now have built up the value that this is worth $150,000 in my mind. I've already been trying to figure out how the heck am I going to pay for this? And now the price has dropped to almost basically a third of what I originally thought it was. So that creates a tremendous amount of urgency and scarcity for me to jump in, because again, he's only allowing 25 people to join because then he's at capacity. Does that make sense? So some of the ways that this you as a chiropractor can use this price Marinade kind of strategy. You can use it inside of your social media content, your print newsletters, your email newsletters, email sequences, and you just do it subtly. You just, as you're telling stories about your patients, you say, hey, listen, I've got this patient. Her name is Nancy. FYI, that's not her real name because of HIPAA concerns, winky face. But Nancy had been suffering with peripheral neuropathy for 7 years. She was on gabapentin for years, which was causing a bunch of problems. She went and got nerve ablation surgery, which was extremely painful. And she said she ended up spending about, I'm just making this number up. She ended up spending about $12,000 to get it done. And the worst part is the pain all came back. She's tried injections, steroid injections. She tried acupuncture, but just nothing really worked. But then she signed up for our neuropathy reversal program for only $6,997. And it's been a year and a half, and that nerve pain has never come back. Ooh. Baby Clover is mad. Here, sweetie. Look. Do you want this? Or do you want to go home? You tired of this walk? Okay, let's go home. So here's what that's going to do. The people who can't afford that, or they don't have a big enough problem, like they don't have enough nerve pain to justify $7,000, they're gonna tap themselves out. They're gonna leave. They're not gonna stick around. But the people who do have a large enough pain that is much, much bigger than $7,000, they're gonna stick around. And now that price is anchored, right? And now they're like, in the beginning, they think, well, that's freaking ridiculous. I'm never paying $7,000 for this. But then as you continue to demonstrate your expertise, position why you are the only person who can actually solve their problem, and then showing some of the case studies and testimonials from your happy patients who have received an amazing result, as they keep watching that stuff from you, that $7,000 price point, frankly, just gets smaller and smaller. Because really the question that everybody's asking, the money doesn't matter, right? Like $7,000 is an irrelevant number when you're thinking about living with chronic nerve pain. I mean, for years, I didn't even know that I had neuropathy, but couldn't fall asleep. Legs are tingling, throbbing, burning pain all night. And I just thought it was something wrong with me. I didn't even realize it was like a condition, right? So it was torture. Every single night falling asleep was torture. And you're telling me all I have to pay is $7,000 to make that go away? Like, okay, perfect deal, right? Like that's an irrelevant number when somebody is suffering in chronic pain for so long. But it's your job to increase the level of certainty that your prospective patients have in choosing your solution. So the way we increase that level of certainty is with 5-star reviews, testimonials, case studies, by having your show, your content that you're posting on YouTube and Facebook, demonstrating your expertise, sharing some stories with patients, stuff like that, to build the trust, right? So that when that prospective patient says, yes, I'm going to try this, they have a level of certainty that they're going to get the result that you're promising. And then the other part of that is, if they don't get the result, make sure you have a strong risk reversal, which is a guarantee that if you don't get this result, then we're just going to refund your money anyway. So the point of this story is some people cannot afford what you're selling. However, it is your responsibility. I got to put the phone down to get the baby out. Okay, there you go. It's your responsibility to just call out who your perfect customer is. Your perfect customer is not somebody who's broke. Come here, sweetie. Your perfect customer is not somebody who's on Medicaid and needs government assistance. Your perfect patient is somebody who has disposable income, who $7,000 is not a big deal to them. And their pain is significantly larger than that temporary expense. So if you're struggling to get leads that can afford what you're selling, it's because you're targeting the wrong people. It's because your messaging is wrong. It's because you're not being clear and building enough value in what you're doing to justify the expense. It's funny, but my kids said the other day, they said, well, $1,000 is a lot of money. And I said, oh, really? $1,000 is a lot of money compared to what? And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, if I offered you a Lamborghini Aventador, which is a $2.5 million car, if I said, you can have this Lamborghini Aventador for $1,000, is $1,000 a lot of money? And they said, well, no. And I said, exactly, because you're comparing the $1,000 to something that is worth a lot more. So therefore, the $1,000 is actually not a lot of money. But if I say, hey, here's give me $1,000 and I'll give you this pack of Tic Tacs, is that a good deal? And they said, well, no, exactly, because $1,000 is a lot of money to pay for Tic Tacs, which are $1. I don't even know what they cost. But does that make sense? Like whether something is a lot of money or not is based on what you're comparing it to. So now if we go back to the neuropathy story, is $1,000 a lot of money? It depends. Somebody who barely has any neuropathy symptoms, they fall asleep fast, they don't have any balance issues, they're not on medication, never been on gabapentin. So for that kind of person, $1,000 is a lot of money, or $7,000 is a lot of money to that type of person because their pain is not high enough, right? But now let's look at somebody who's 85 years old. They, were exposed to Agent Orange during Vietnam. Every single day, all night long, they have a tremendous amount of chemical-induced neuropathy, legs, numbness, tingling, burning pain, trouble with balance, and they're even afraid to hold their grandkids because they're afraid that they're going to drop them accidentally because their hands are starting to go numb. If you can reduce that pain, those symptoms, those problems for that person and get them their life back so that they can hold their grandkid again, is $7,000 a lot of money to be able to hold your grandkid? No, it's a very, very cheap price. Is $7,000 a lot of money to be able to fall asleep again without being in a tremendous amount of pain? No, it's not a lot of money. It's a very reasonable amount to pay. Is $7,000 a lot of money to pay to avoid surgery? No, it's actually very cheap because most surgeries are going to be like a lot more than that, right? So again, this whole idea that, something is a lot of money is based on your ability to articulate the value that you're creating, identifying what the current state is of that patient, like where they currently are, where they want to be, so that's called the ideal state, and then that gap in between, that's the value that you're trying to build. And the larger that gap is, the more of the gap you can expose, the larger amount of money people will be able, and not only be able, but will be willing to pay for the solution that you're offering. I hope this makes sense. So anyway, if you're a chiropractor and you want to attract new patients with marketing that doesn't suck, and you want to learn more about the chiropractic marketing system, shoot me a text, 813-789-9868. That's 813-789-9868. And I'd love to jump on Zoom with you and see if maybe we can help you. I don't know if we can, but see if we can help you, and then we'll kind of go from there. So that's all I've got for today, Doc. So until next time, keep moving forward.